You know their name, and maybe you know their face. Well, now you can know their story. Netflix has released 2 sports docuseries that will help get you hyped for the 2024 Paris Olympics. These shows offer exclusive behind-the-scenes interviews with some of the biggest Olympic stars. Host of the movie show on KSL Newsradio, Andy Farnsworth, has the details. Great to see you, friend. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So these docuseries, they provide a really unique opportunity for the world to kind of get that inside look before the Olympics take off.
Yeah, so for sports like gymnastics and track and field in particular, although you could add swimming, but Netflix doesn't have a series about the swimmers yet. But we get so excited every 4 years.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks, we hear all about these people, but then for 4 years, they disappear again. And so part of the fun of watching sports is, you have a favorite team. You know all the players, and then you watch how your team does against everybody else.
Yeah.
But for track and field and these sports where people come and go every 4 to 6 to 8 years, you don't have that. So you go in blind, and either you got a little 2-minute package that NBC will show about the athletes, but Netflix gives you a chance to get to know them a lot more deeply. And it's really, really interesting. If you like sports, even if you haven't followed these athletes, it's very easy to get into the dramas, and you get to know them behind the scenes. So Sprint is the one that's actually been out for a couple of weeks already, and that looks at the not just the American sprinters, but actually all the top class sprinters. However, of course, it focuses heavily on Noah Lyles, who is the current champion. Well, I don't want to give anything away because this is a documentary series that leads up to last year's World Championships. Obviously, they don't have this year's Olympic results, but you get to know the defending Olympic champions from Italy, the defending world champions from, not going to say, but you get to see all the people going into it. So now when they come to the Olympics, you already know sort of their storyline and their competitive history, and that's what makes it interesting as you watch and get to know them.
Maybe this is my professional passion shining through, but the backstory is everything. And you talk about those little 2-minute story setups that NBC will show you. That's my favorite part, actually, because you get the flavor and you get the buildup, you get the layers of this person.
And that's true, and that's important because not everybody's going to watch these Netflix documentaries, but I promise you, you watch something like this, the Sprint is an 8-part, about an hour long each, and you'll get to know the sprinters from Jamaica, who have 3 of the top sprinters in the world from the women's side. And as well as the Americans, and I didn't know the results of these results that had happened a year ago, so it was just as exciting to me watching it now, even though it happened last summer. And then it gives me these storylines to watch when, by the way, track and field is week 2 of the Olympics. You have to get through everything.
Wait for it.
I know, you have to wait. But there's also, gymnastics.
Okay, and yesterday Netflix released Simone Biles' Rising, and you've already watched it.
Yes.
So tell me your thoughts.
Well, so first of all, there was a lot about her I didn't know. And for somebody who's been winning golds for like the last 2 out of the last 3 Olympics. The only reason she didn't win the last one was her very publicly documented case of mental illness, I guess.
Mental breakdown.
The yips, I guess
she
they
withdrew.
call it.
Yeah.
And you really get to see what went into that. You get to understand a lot more of the story. I didn't know a lot of the things. This was the COVID Olympics. Her family wasn't with her. There was all these different things going on, and just little things for gymnasts and for the highest of elite athletes, all the little things add up for them. And when they get changed or radically altered, suddenly somebody whose instinct is to flip and turn and twist in every direction, she'd lose track of where she was in the air. Which I can't even imagine that, because I can't imagine doing it in the first place. I watched some Simone Biles with my 11-year-old who's doing gymnastics. And she was thinking she was pretty good at gymnastics, and this was the look on her face when she saw Simone Biles.
She's like, but my cartwheels are so good, Dad.
I can't do that.
I have a 5-year-old, same thing. She's like, can I go to gymnastics right now when we saw the qualifying trials? I am so glad to hear they went into more depth about that episode last year.
And there's more than that, too.
Okay, because it was so big and dramatic, and then everyone quickly rushed to support, which was well-intended and wonderful.
Or judgment.
I felt
there was a lot. They show that in the documentary, too, because this is the other thing. Getting to know these athletes behind the scenes.
As humans.
It maybe makes you think twice before you post that comment, because sometimes they do read them. And I know that for the typist, you're like, I hope they read this. You really don't. When you get to know who they are, you think twice. I do anyway.
Andy, thank you for the preview. 2 docuseries.
One morning, just on these 2 series, they're Netflix, not necessarily language safe for the youngest kids. I just want to make sure that's clear before you watch that with your little ones. Maybe preview it, especially Simone Biles. They talk about some of the abuse that went on in U.S. gymnastics. So I just don't want somebody to go in blind and be like, hit the pause button.
It's the warning we appreciate and respect you for, so thank you so much. Sir, where can we get more from you?
The movie show every Friday from 11 to 1 on KSL Newsradio, or if you missed that, it's also available anywhere you get the podcasts. We podcast the movie show.
You're doing a great job, Andy. Thanks you so much.